Good morning, everybody. Okay, I'm pretty much set up here. Let me just make sure. All right, here we go. Got all my screens set up properly for success. 5:45 a.m. Here we go. Another Ask Me Anything. This is for Thursday, October 6th. I cannot believe that we're already in October. That's just crazy. Hello, everybody. See the waves right back at you. The baby's asleep. That's a good thing. The whole family's asleep, as a matter of fact. And today's Ask Me Anything is once again sponsored by Strong Black Coffee. That way, you can shoot you straight. No sponsors to keep happy. Okay, here we go. Let's just go ahead and dive right in. Good questions as always. So, I can't believe it, but the first most upvoted question, well, I had nothing to do with this, is from Jim L. And it says, I was wondering if you could share a little bit of your, love story, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it. He says, with Emily, how you met and your relationship developed and grew. Okay. All right. So the most upvoted question, I will answer it, but I will keep it short because I don't know how rich and compelling it will be for the larger audience. I met Emily just, at 2013 when she competed at the games, because I was working for the media team for HQ at that point in time. So, I've met everybody that was competing that year. But, we didn't have any relationship or know each other more than just a casual hello, doing the interview and all that stuff in 2013. Then she went back in 2014, competed again at the games, saw her again at the games, saw everybody else who came back again at the games that year. And I think, if memory serves, this podcast might get me in trouble if I'm not remembering properly. I believe right after the 2014 games, so she was living up in Washington State, which is where I am now. I was down in California in the Santa Cruz, San Jose area. And she used to travel down to Silicon Valley for work. She worked for a tech company. And she knew that I had CrossFit Linchpin, and she didn't know anything other than that. And so I guess she trusted me, which was nice. And so she reached out and was like, hey, I'm heading down to the San Jose area. Can I come to your gym and work out or whatnot? And, I just, as I've told the story many times before, I did just affiliated my garage and just worked out by myself, and that was CrossFit Linchpin. Just posted the workouts for the world to enjoy. And I was like, oh, cool, it's great that you're coming down, but it's just my garage, that's what it is. It's not like I have these dedicated class times. I just affiliated my garage. Glad that you enjoy the workouts and all that stuff. That's cool. You're more than welcome to, not trying to be creepy, more than welcome to come down, work out. I don't know what your schedule's like, have a blast, use whatever you need to use, and, no worries. And so she basically took me up on the offer, and when she came down, we hung out, got some breakfast, got a cup of coffee, started talking, and just started dating from there, I guess is the quick story. And then I don't know how long we dated. These memories are foggy and fuzzy. Maybe I haven't had enough coffee. But at some point in time, things were going well. I remember I did a backpacking trip that year with Dan Bailey. I can't remember where we went backpacking, but on the trip I was kind of telling him, I think I met somebody. And he's like, oh, really? And, so we chatted a little bit. And sometime, after we've been dating for, I can't remember the period of time, this was something that she said to me that I actually respected very much, because she had 2 kids from a younger marriage who at that time were 3 years old and 5 years old, 2 boys. And she was like, look, I'm not certainly trying to put any pressure on you, is what she said to me. But she's like, I've got 2 young men, under my care that are my priority in this world. And, I'm not looking to just date some guy. If you think you don't want to actually go somewhere with this, that's fine, no harm, no foul. but I'm not going to like introduce somebody to my kids. My kids get to know them. Maybe they develop some relationship or feelings with them. Then I'm no longer dating that person. It's disruptive to the kids. It's not fair to them. 6 months later, dating somebody else. Kids get to know them. It's like, that's not fair for kids. So she's like, no worries, but just figure out what you want to do. And so anyway, I was like, I'm in. I met those little young men, 3 years old and 5 years old. They're awesome. Kids are absolutely phenomenally awesome. And now blows my mind, 13 and 11 years old. Like 8 years have gone by. Wow. And now we've got a daughter. So anyway, that's just a quick little synopsis. And because of, where her kids were and the life that they had going to school and all that, she wasn't going to be able to take the kids down to California. So it was, I had to go up to Washington State. So that's how I wound up coming to Washington State, the land of eternal rain. And so here I am. And I've been losing workouts to her ever since. Okay, next most upvoted question. Oh, here's a funny Emily story. She might kill me for saying this. So, when I was on the media team, we would do the interviews of all the athletes, male and female. As part of their registration and check-in process, they would have to do certain things. You pick up your uniforms, you do this, you do that. Part of them is you go through the media funnel, if you will. And I might ask them some questions, but then you got to get some shots, right? Because, I don't know, you never know who's going to win that year. And you want to make sure you have the footage that you need so that after the fact, when you're going to build a documentary or put certain packages together, you've got the footage. Maybe you're going to have this crazy person come out of nowhere and win the games, and don't you wish that you had this question answered by them or whatever. So there are certain questions or statements, certain questions you have to have everyone answer, and certain statements you have to have everyone say just to have that footage in the bank. And one of them, I think, is like, you'll see the athletes, either the guys traditionally in the background, I don't know, in the past, I don't know how they do it now, like they'd have their shirts off and arms folded across their chest and looking at the camera kind of sideways. Women would usually be in like their sports bra and shirt, same kind of arms crossed, looking at the camera. And then usually everybody would say the word, I'm so-and-so, and I'm the fittest on earth, or something like that. I'm fill in the blank, and I'm the fittest on earth. Like, you'd get that statement from everybody. Because, again, what if somebody came out of nowhere and won? You need that in the bank. And can I be honest with you? We're all friends, right? There are certainly, everyone who this is not supposed to discredit, I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this. This is not supposed to discredit anybody who showed up to the games. Everyone who showed up, you're at the games. So you're like the top 0.02% of the fitness world. You're an amazing freak show of fitness anomaly. But even in that amazing freak show of fitness anomaly, let's say there's 50 men and 50 women. Truth be told, you know who the 10 are that are going to make waves that weekend. If you've done your research, you just do. The other 40 are amazing. I'm not taking anything from them. But you know who the top 10 are that these people are going to shake things up. And so there's not like you need that statement from everybody, let's be honest. You got to have a sense of who's going to come out on top, but you want to get it from everybody. And I remember specifically, Emily was in the, media room. I don't know if this was 2013 or 14. We're like, okay, so now final thing, we just need you to, cross your arms, look at the camera and say your name and say that you're the fittest on earth. And she just goes, I'm not going to do that. We're like, oh, well, nobody usually says that, so we just kind of need to get this shot. No big deal, so if you just wouldn't mind looking at the camera, say your name, and just say that you're the fittest on earth, that would really help us out. She's like, nope, not going to do that. We're like, why? She's like, well, it's ridiculous. I'm not. So I'm not going to do that. It's weird. We're like, okay, all right, well, have a good day. And so that was that. So I remember that to this day. I was like, fair enough. And it's, I can't remember where she finished. She did really well. It's like 13th or something, Not bad to be the 13th fittest person in the world. Okay, next most upvoted question is from Lexi H. What makes someone choose programming meters versus calories on something like the rower or one of the bikes? Is there a difference in how one would approach each one in a workout? So, Lexi, I can't remember off the top of my head, but we actually did an entire specific, maybe not an entire podcast, but the bulk of one podcast on this very topic. And I don't feel like it was too long ago, if you want to go back and check some of the old Linchpin conversations. And it was exactly about your question: meters versus calories, rower, assault bike, echo bike, bike erg. How are they similar? How are they different? How does it compare to running? So you can really take a deep dive if you find that one. But I will say right off the bat, just for some things that might help you out. So it depends on the workout. I know everyone hates the phrase "it depends," but it depends on the workout and it depends on what you're looking to replace. As a general guideline, if you're looking to swap out what would have been a 400-meter run, 500 meters on the rower works really well. 1,200 meters on an air bike works really well. And now that's meters, right? Because you asked meters and you asked calories. Now, if we're talking calories, as an overly simplified general statement, calories work very well for high-intensity efforts because your output is significantly rewarded by accumulating more calories faster. So if you're looking for people to sprint or to have them really getting after it and to have that pay off and motivate them to do it, programming calories in an intentional and intelligent manner can help yield that result. And I'll paint a picture for you, right? Let's say that you're on an air bike, you're on an echo bike or an assault bike or something like that. Air bike, you pedal at 60 revolutions a minute for 1 minute. Okay? 60 RPMs for 1 minute. You most likely covered about 600 meters on that bike. During that 1 minute, you not only covered about 600 meters, but you probably also accumulated ballpark 12 calories on that machine. So 60 RPMs, 1 minute is about 600 meters and 12 calories. Now, this is why distance is relatively linear, but calories are not. So now, if you could, what if you doubled your output? So for 1 minute, instead of pedaling at 60 RPMs, you're going to pedal at 120, exactly double the output. Well, everything doesn't just double. Okay, so going from 60 RPMs to 120 RPMs, whereas at 60 RPMs you covered 600 meters in 1 minute, doubling your output to 120 RPMs would double the distance that you covered. Bang, you would knock out 1,200 meters. Beautiful, linear, a perfect swap. Not the case with calories. The calories just don't beautifully double like everything else. So whereas at 60 RPMs for 1 minute you accumulated about 12 calories, now you double, you go to 120 RPMs, you're not just doubling your calories, it will be over a 4x. You'll accumulate over 50 calories. So it's going to be somewhere over quadruple. So the biggest thing in considering programming is that the two are not linear. So as a nice just replication of trying to swap out something like a 400-meter run, meters works really well on both the rower and the bike. If we're talking about something where it's short time domain, high intensity, calories work really well. So if the workout of the day was going to be a 10 by 100 meter sprint, I can assign a calorie to accumulate on the bike or the rower. Ideally the bike, not the rower, and that's another thing too, because you can spin up the bike a lot faster in a shorter period of time and get more of a, you're going to get closer to the feel of a 10 by 100 meter foot sprint day on an air bike than you will on a rower. Both can do the trick, but that's just another little thing as well. But you could assign a small number of calories that, again, the higher your effort and the more you're just crushing that thing, the faster you're going to get the calories going, and it's going to replicate a sprint day really well. So those are things that you could consider as well. But also you can, this is also programming art versus science, right? Because while those are generally true, they're not always true, because you can manipulate the calories to make it have more of a meter sort of a feel. And you would do that potentially by increasing the calories to a point where the effort level wouldn't be sustainable to make it a really high pace. So you could you could put a big chunk of calories into a workout, knowing that it is such a big chunk and it's somewhere in the middle of the workout that you're not going to be able to just bomb it at that point in time. And so you could almost have in your mind that it is a nice swap for what the distance might have been, so I'm sorry if that doesn't make sense. So let's say in the middle of a workout, you wanted to have something that's like an 800-meter run, okay? So you could put in an 800-meter run, but maybe you wanted to put it in on the bike, and you wanted to do it in calories, because maybe that worked nicer for the rep scheme. It made the rep scheme look more beautiful, and the distance that you would have to have in meters would be, as far as I'm concerned, like beautiful numbers, would be jarring and ugly. You didn't want that. Well, 800-meter run, let's just call it roughly 4 minutes of running. I know some people are like, whoa, that's really fast. Other people are like, that's slow, but roughly 4 minutes of running. So 4 minutes on the bike, if you're thinking 60 RPMs, thinking 12 calories a minute, 4 times 12, that gives you 48 calories. So if somewhere in the middle of the workout, you put in 50 calories, it's really close to 48, right? That's a nice, beautiful little round number that maybe would work well in some up and down chipper. Like maybe you're making a chipper that goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then you go back down, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. But only the 50 is bike calories. Maybe the 10 are ring muscle-ups. The 20 are whatever, toes to bar. The 30 are burpees. The 40 are something else. 50 is calories in the bike, and then you go back down. That would be a really, at that point in time in the workout, most people aren't going to get on there and just hold 120 RPMs on the bike and do it in 1 minute. That's not going to be a concern. They're going to be so fatigued that hopping on the bike and doing 50 calories then will be a really similar experience and probably take about 4 minutes, and that'd be very similar to an 800-meter run. So again, all of these things are taken into account ideally when any individual is programming calories or programming meters, and then programming how much of each and what machine are they choosing and why. And so I hope that helps. Let's see. And don't forget that we've got, every day on the private track, if there is a run or a bike or a row, if you tap on some stuff there on the BTWB app, we always give distance conversion. So maybe it's a 400-meter run today. We'll tell you what you could swap out if you don't want to run, you wanted to bike, you wanted to ski erg, you wanted to row, you wanted to do whatever it happened to be. And also, not all of those machines accumulate calories at the exact same pace. Like the bike erg, at the same level of effort, tends to accumulate a slightly larger number of calories than you would on the echo bike or the assault bike. And so those will have a slightly different distance conversion, which is why if you tap on that in the BTWB app, you'll see that if there's calories in the workout, it might be a 1-for-1 swap on the echo bike, but it might be 1.5 or 1.3 on the bike erg. I can't remember what it is right now, but anyway, all that good stuff taken into consideration. As I look over at the baby monitor, I see her stirring. That makes me nervous. It's a little too early for her to be stirring. Yeesh. Okay, let's see. Okay, final question here from the Facebook group, and then I've got a couple from the BTWB app that I'll try to get to as well. This is from Chris R. We all have our biases. When it comes to programming, what biases did you have to overcome, and are there any that you still have to watch out for? For example, did your military background start you from a place of prioritizing running and body weight movements? Cool question. You're absolutely right. We all have our biases. And just admitting that you do or being aware of them is a really big deal. So different programmers might have different ways of ensuring that doesn't muddy the waters. At least I hope they do. Over the course of the years, I've been doing this for a really long time, and my systems have just continued to evolve and evolve and evolve to how to make this not a super, again, make this not a super long answer, but programming is part art and part science. It really, really is. And the two, in my opinion anyway, coexist to make some of the most beautiful training in the world. And I'm going to really dive into this. As a matter of fact, that's my plan, on a small series on Varied Not Random. I think Adrian and I are going to take a deep dive into programming probably here in a couple weeks and just kind of drop a nuclear bomb on it. And so that'll be good. But regarding your question, avoiding biases, so I have developed over the course of years, and if you're listening to an audio podcast, you won't be able to see this, but if you go to the YouTube channel and check it out, you'll be able to see it. But I am right now in the middle of programming a 4-week block of training upcoming for Linchpin. And to make sure that where I believe we need to go is actually where we need to go, and where I believe that we've been is where we really have been, I sanity check myself, because numbers don't lie. And so here's a piece of paper. If you can see all that written down there. There's a lot on there. But that is me writing down where we've been for heavy days specifically. Heavy days and or heavy days at a high heart rate, both of those things. And I write them down in reverse chronological order, starting with what we've done most recently. And I go back at least 3 months. So we go back a while. And I write down what the movement was, what the rep scheme was. Was it a classic heavy day? Was it a heavy day at a high heart rate? What was the loading, if it was a prescribed loading, etc., etc.? What was the date that it took place on? And then I look back and see, where have we been? Where do we need to go, etc., etc.? And so maybe I could pick something like front squat, for example. What have we done most recently? If we're talking just squatting, the classic squats, front, back, and overhead squat. If I look back and see that most recently we've done an overhead squat and it was a heavy day at a high heart rate, then previous to that we had a back squat day and it was a classic day. Previous to that we had the front squat day, but it was a heavy day at a high heart rate. Then right there, that might lead me to, okay, out of those three, the one that has not come up most recently is front squat, and the last time the front squat did come up, it was a heavy day at a high heart rate. So this time it should be a classic heavy day, so that we touch the lift that needs to be touched, and we touched it in a slightly different way than we did last time that it came up. But then it doesn't stop there. Okay, great. Now we know that it's front squat. Now we know that it's a front squat classic heavy day. But now where have we been the last however many times we've done front squat classic heavy day? Was it, 7 by 1, 5 by 5, 5 by 3, 7 by 2, 2, 3, 5, 10, 2, 3, 5, 10? Was it an EMOM? Was it whatever it happened to be? Find all of those data points. List those out in reverse chronological order to identify where we have been and where we need to go. And then all of a sudden you see, okay, yep, clearly the data shows where we need to go next on a front squat classic heavy day is a 7 by 1. And so that selection gets made. All of that takes a very long time to figure out, backtrack, research, crunch the numbers, crunch the dates, and then you have to do that every single time, every day, for every movement, for every lift, for every rep range, for everything. Not just for front squat, back squat, overhead squat, but let's talk deadlifts, let's talk clean, let's talk clean and jerk, let's talk squat snatch, hang squat snatch, power snatch, and then all your gymnastics movements as well. Pull-ups, kipping or strict, chest to bar, ring muscle-ups, bar muscle-ups, rope climbs, ring rows, midline work for ab mat, GHD sit-ups, toes to bar, knees to elbows, V-ups, hollow rocks, L-sits, all the different, sprint days, 5 by 50, 3 by 400, 1 by 800, 10 by 20 by 55 yard sprint, death by 10 meter shuttle, 10 by 100, 8 by 200, 6 by 400, 3 by 800, all the stuff we could do in the rower, all the stuff we could do in the bike. So I have all of these things written down, also with, I'll have lists of all these different things as well for all your engine and conditioning work, upper body pulling, midline work, all barbell lifts and things of that nature, with little boxes next to them, and I'll tick on the boxes, cross it off with an X if we're good to go. It gets a little dot if it needs attention, and then they also get letters and numbers prioritizing their need in my mind. A1, A2, A3, I go then B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3. So for example, getting back to the previous example, I'm sorry, I tried not to nuke this, now we're going to nuke it. We identified in this example front squat, classic, heavy day is what was needed next with regards to squatting. So that gets an A1 next to it. That's the top priority. I then play this whole reverse game again. What's the next thing that's most in need of making an appearance? And I can't remember the top of my head, but just for the sake of argument, let's say it's a overhead squat in a workout, heavy day at a high heart rate. Great. That gets an A2. Okay, well now we've seen front, when you've seen overhead, probably back squats coming up. And that gets an A3. And it gets an A3 in either classic or heavy day at a high heart rate, whatever made sense. Well, now for those 3 squats, we've got our A1, A2, and A3 priority. Over the course of 4 weeks of training, they're going to make more than one appearance. So now, whatever is the secondary level of importance, that gets a B1. And so maybe now you might think, well, it went in order, right? So it was front squat, overhead squat, back squat in this example. So then B1 must be front squat. And since A1 was front squat classic, B1 is going to be front squat at a heavy day at a high heart rate, right? That would make sense. And then B2 would be the opposite of whatever the next lift was. That's true, but here's the deal with programming art versus science. That's useful, and I do that every single time for all of this stuff, time domains, blah, blah, blah. But then when you lay out, for example, like a 4-week block, and you start putting things in and moving them around, it's not just 4 weeks of heavy days. You got a whole bunch of other workouts in there that you play the same game with. And as you start to put these chess pieces on the board, there's going to be interference. Because what are you going to do? Just front squat and back squat heavy forever? No wall balls? No thrusters? No air squats? No walking lunges? No whatever? Right, those are below parallel days as well, which are absolutely mission critical to your fitness, and they're going to get plugged in. So when they get plugged in, they're going to affect some of these other things. And so you can't fall in love with the plan and the pure analytical side that I just explained. That's going to help frame where you're going, but it's not going to tell you exactly. That's where just the experience side and the art side comes in, is to now, once you get all these things in there, and these charts that I just said are super useful, but they're not formed in concrete. They have flexibility and they have to move, or the program would be terrible. And so now you get all these data points, and then it's up to the programmer to continually just massage and move things around so that everything has this beautiful flow, and you're hitting all of your bases from light to medium to heavy, short, medium, long, below parallel, overhead, pulling from the ground, slow lifts like the power lifts, fast lifts like the Olympic lifts, all of that stuff. There's a lot going on, which is why I always think it's rather humorous when somebody goes, oh, programming is just a bunch of random workouts. It's like, oh, wow. Is it? That's funny, because it's about as far from random as you could humanly be. It is, at least as far as I'm concerned, effective, good programming. It is profoundly intentional and deliberate and thought out and all of that stuff. So anyway, all of those things, to get back to your question, Chris, is how I make sure that we're doing what we need to do and we're not just programming to anyone's particular biases. So that's it. Okay. And like I said, I think Adrian and I are going to take like a bone-crushing deep dive on this. I called them up and I was like, I think it's time. I don't know how long we're going to chat for, 1 hour, 2 hours. Maybe it'll be a 2-part series or something, but like, let's go down the rabbit hole big time. So anyway. All right. Next most upvoted one. This one came from the BTWB app. This is from Justin K. And there's a lot even more, getting back to the programming thing, more to it than that, but that gives you a really good sense of, and that's just what I do. right? That's just what I do. Somebody else might have their different system and checks and balances. And you know how you know if it's, I mean, the metric is, does it work? If you're the programmer, does it work? Does it serve your needs to keep you on track and put out effective programming? So even if you do it, maybe you're an absolute genius and you don't have to write a single thing down and it works, great. But these I've found over the course of the years that I've been developing them and just polishing them and adding to the list as I feel like things are needed, removing to the list if I thought things were fluff, like they served me very well. Okay, next most upvoted one from Justin K. For strictly cardio workouts like sprints, medium, long runs, things like that, bike row, have any idea how to convert it to swimming? I have a pool at my gym and I was hoping to utilize it more. So I do not off the top of my head have just a nice, if it's a 400 meter run on a 6x400 meter sprint day, swim for this distance. What I would recommend is, and maybe you know this off the top of your head right off the bat, I would go by time domains. So if it's on something like a 6x400 meter run day, let's just say that you're a really good runner and you usually do those 400 meter runs in 90 seconds. Several people just probably had heart attacks when I said those times. Let's just say you did it in 90 seconds. And that's obviously a high intensity effort, you would want to swim however many laps it was in the pool at what effort can you sustain for a really hard 90 seconds in the pool, and then rest 4 minutes and hit it again, whatever it happens to be. Whatever distance that is whatever distance it is. And play that same game with if it's an 8x200 meter sprint day and people are doing those sprints in 35 to 40 seconds of hard swimming in the pool. And what you could do if you don't have that right now is just go to the pool, warm up, and then think of the classic running sprint days and what are those time domains, and then have your watch on in the pool and hit it and just see what are the distances that on a sprint day would work well for you. So I think you could find that out and have a good chart for yourself in just one kind of pool session. Okay, final question, and then we'll do some shout outs. We'll talk about the upcoming Linchpin Challenge for October, and we'll be good to go. Let's see. Okay, next most upvoted one is from J.K. Jay says, "Hi Pat, incredible programming." Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Uniquely different from all the others, my question is around strengthening our gymnastics base. As many of us in the Linchpin group, time is limited, but fitness is important. Considering gymnastics is a foundational building block, which movement or movements do you believe can have the largest impact on the rest of our training? Also, feel free to shamelessly plug BTWB and their awesome programs around gymnastics. They do have some amazing programs that actually Adrian and I just went in and kind of polished up. So, all right, biggest impact around gymnastics. This might not be the sexy answer everyone's thinking of, like, I don't know, handstand walking or ring muscle ups or pull-ups or something like this. Midline strength. Period, end of story. If I had to say one thing gymnastics-wise that will benefit everything, midline strength. And that midline strength will also significantly benefit all the other things that I just mentioned, handstands, ring muscle-ups, etc., etc. But midline strength is going to help you sprinting. It's going to help you on deadlift days. It's going to help you with thrusters. Midline, midline, midline. And so L-sits, all the stuff nobody wants to do, right? That's where the payoff is. L-sits, sit-ups, hollow rocks, toes to bar, knees to elbows, both strict and kipping, V-ups, windshield wipers, etc., etc. You want to know why gymnasts are just so ferociously capable when they enter CrossFit? Now, they're obviously phenomenal athletes and their body awareness is through the roof, and they have hip drive and they can do flips, and they're extremely coordinated without a doubt. But their midlines, gymnast midlines, are out of control strong, and everything is better with a strong midline. I mean, think about if your body is a building, right? Like a 10-story building, and your legs are the bottom, 3 or 4 floors, and you're pressing in shoulders and all that as the top few floors. Well, those middle floors, that's your midline, right? Your abdominal, spinal, erectors, the whole 9 yards. You're not going to get anything worthwhile accomplished if that middle part is just loosey-goosey and weak. It doesn't matter how strong your legs are. If your midline is not strong, your back squat's going to suffer significantly. So will your power clean, so will your pull-ups, so will everything else. Your overhead pressing won't be good. That midline, that power transfer of a strong midline is mission critical to everything. So my answer right off the bat is strengthening your midline. And again, gymnasts do a nauseating amount of midline conditioning day after day, week after week for years, and then it transfers over to absolutely everything. And then gymnasts say annoying things, and I know this since I'm married to one, that if a workout has toes to bar in it, that's where you rest. Who rests during toes to bar? That's offensive. Okay, on top of that, then we can get into some other stuff. I would do planks of all varieties as well, and again, that's just getting you to the midline as well, but all varieties of planks would be profoundly beneficial, because then also if you don't have a good midline with that plank and you're working towards getting your first push-up, getting your first push-up isn't going to go well, or getting more push-ups isn't going to go well if you don't have a strong midline. So let's get the midline fired up, and then you can do the other stuff, right? Air squats, push-ups, pull-ups, dips, handstand holds, all that good stuff. And then, as Jay mentioned, I will point you towards BTWB has a phenomenal amount of programs, like already laid out, to help you out if you're looking to get something for the first time. And they're now under the VNR banner as well. And so if you just go to, I should probably know this off the top of my head, programs.btwb.com/VNR. programs.btwb.com/VNR. Oh, yes, JJ says candlestick drills too. Absolutely, 100% candlesticks. And if you go to that website that I just said, there's programs to get your first strict pull-up, kipping pull-up, bar muscle-up, ring dips, push-ups, handstand push-ups, handstand walk, toes to bar, help your clean, snatch, back squat, all that stuff. And then Adrian and I actually came up with, and there's more in the works, but some really good on-ramp programs, which people requested. So now we have a body weight on-ramp course. So if somebody's just looking to get into fitness and they don't know where to start, we created a body weight on-ramp course. 8-week journey, going through all the classic mission-critical core gymnastics movements. And we also have an 8-week dumbbell on-ramp course. So if somebody's looking to just work out at home, got a set of dumbbells, where do I start? Bang, we've got an 8-week dumbbell course that will get you up and get you moving. And so trying to make it happen, trying to put some really meaningful, useful content out there for people that will drive the needle forward. So okay, that is the end of that. So we'll do some Linchpin shoutouts, and well, I'll do the chat about the test, and then we'll get out of here. 6:24. We've been chatting like 40 minutes. So we're in October. The challenge for October is Linchpin Test 2. Good news, there's no running in it. So Linchpin Test 2, again, we're doing one test every month. You're just going up chronologically. And Linchpin Test 2 is 3 rounds for time, 5 ring muscle-ups, 10 squat cleans, 20 box jumps. So 3 rounds for time, 5 ring muscle-ups, 10 squat cleans, 20 box jumps. On the barbells, 135 or 95, and then the box jumps are 24 inches and 20 inches. So just a nice, innocent triplet. It's fun. It is a fun one. There'll be a prescribed version, there'll be a scaled version, and then there'll be a dumbbell version as well. And again, it's just a fun community event, right? You don't need to submit a video. You can just, I want you just around the world, make it easy and have fun. And this Linchpin Test 2, again, the monthly challenge, this will be happening. It'll go live Friday, October 21st through Monday, October 24th, basically the weekend before the Rogue Invitational. And as we do each month, there'll be a t-shirt that you can get. The t-shirts haven't arrived yet, but one will be black, one will be, I think, gray is the color we're going this month. It's got the linchpin on the chest, says test 2, says effective, not popular, and then we also have a little bit of swag as well. So again, you can do it totally for free. Just do it for free, sign up, get your name on the leaderboard, see where you shake out, great. Or you can get the shirt, and your name will be on the back of the shirt. So this is the shirt from, what is this? This is from the 5K run. So it'll be a similar shirt or tank top like that. And then everyone's name on the back, super cool, with the kind of a faded linchpin there. And then the other cool piece of swag, which I just checked out and I liked the quality of it. I'll show you right now. I think people are going to be happy. This is via request. Now this is mirror image on my phone, so I apologize, but it's going to be basically a sticker pack. 4 different stickers. Just a good old classic linchpin sticker right there. A subdued one, camo with the black, and then 2 other stickers. One that says nobody cares, train harder, and one that says effective, not popular. And so your options, if you so desire, will be do the October challenge, Linchpin Test 2, for free. Just do it totally for free. Have a blast. Or you could sign up and just get a t-shirt or a tank top if you wanted to. Cool. Or you could sign up and just order the sticker pack if you so desire. Or you get the shirt and the stickers. But you can do it totally for free. So again, it is just a fun community event. Let's see. Oh, JJ, can we get a shirt with no names if we can't participate due to surgery? Ooh, interesting question. I'm not entirely sure. Hit me up with an email or something like that, and we'll see what we can make happen. So that's that. I'll keep you posted as well, but it's coming up here in a couple weeks, and it should be fun. And again, no running. All right, so let's do the 3 linchpin shoutouts, and then we'll be out of here. Get myself some breakfast. All right, box jump victory at age 59 is the first one here. This is from Evelyn N. It says, today was a good day. Been doing CrossFit maybe 9 years now. Box jumps have always been my nemesis. I have an unreasonable fear of them. I've never fallen. It just looks so high that at 20 inches I'm sure I'll never make it. I've tried to get better at them, etc., etc. Anyway, in all these 9 years, I've jumped onto a 24-inch box exactly 2 times, and you can imagine the prep work that took. Well, today I decided I was going to tackle it again, and I worked my way up from 20 inches to 24 inches. And then I did it. And then I did it again 55 more times in the workout. Super happy about this, and honestly, doing it not for time made it possible, and there's no way I would have tried myself if the clock was running. So thank you, CrossFit Linchpin, another brick in the wall, and at almost 59 years old. How cool is that? 59 years old, and she did 55 24-inch box jumps in a workout. That's phenomenal. So goals, basically. All right, second one is from Amy M, and this one is entitled Done by Habit. And she says, working out today was done purely by habit because I definitely was not motivated to work out today. I chose the not for time option, didn't run the clock, still looked at it from time to time when I started and ended. So that is also the benefit of, one of the big things we preach at Linchpin is that consistency pays off so much. And you're going to have good days and bad days, right? Some days you're going to just be fired up and feel like you could tear the head off a lion. And other days you're like, I can bring myself into the gym today, but I just want to move. I don't want to feel the pressure of the clock. And that's okay. That's another brick in the wall. You're winning. And so that's exactly the experience that Amy had. And then finally, this one is entitled From Iron Man to Lifting Iron. Jeff H. says, over the years I was a competitive Iron Man, and now I've got 2 young children. It's amazing how my mindset has changed, and I find it far more effective and enjoyable to just get into my garage and move for 45 minutes versus going for an hour run or a 3-hour bike ride. So, first of all, previously having done Ironman triathlons, wow. I mean, that's profoundly impressive. So, that's it. Another end to the day. Hope everybody thinks that the stickers are cool. I think they came out really well, to be honest with you. And who doesn't like stickers? Adults like stickers too. Slap them around, slap them everywhere. So have a great day, everybody. Enjoy your rest day, and we'll talk later.